I'm WG. I was just relaxing in the sun and then I realized, oh, what is this? Developer notes Galactic Disaster Season 3 balance. Adjustments, what is it all about? I don't know, you don't know. Let's get into it and let's see what we can learn. So, hello, this is the chaoszeronightmare team. Season 3 balance adjustment focus on improving combatants that currently underperform relatively to the newly raised overall balance standard, meaning them increasing the total HP value, for example, with what you've noticed with the tower. And they want to make sure that everybody can work in sortie. So, even cards with low selection rates can serve meaningful roles depending on your unique deck building approach as Protoss, and we've taken great care throughout the redesign process to ensure that no disadvantages are introduced, meaning everything they do will make something better and never worse. Season 3 balance adjustments are designed primarily to raise the lower performance floor of each character. Accordingly, this update minimizes any large-scale reworks, instead focusing on bringing each combatant's core performance up to a consistent baseline. The adjustments outlined in this balance adjustment notice are subject to the change at the time of the actual update. This update minimizes any large-scale reworks. Okay. Whatever they say, let's see what we can learn. Okay, for Nia we're just getting more healing, meaning now you get more stacks of the ability to heal on using an extra attack. More stacks here as well. Even more stacks, and Adagio is now a zero cost card. But that is just base Adagio. Adagio, okay, it's Adagio Unique Epiphany 3 that is now zero cost, which draws one and heals you. Okay. So overall, just in general, a bit more healing on the base heal, a bit more healing on base soul rip, and then an increase of healing on the discarded soul rip, the upgrade soul rip, I think. I mean, that's the way it looks like. Like, people already love the upgrade one, now it's even better. And then this one here just becoming a zero cost, making it a lot more valuable. Okay. Ray. The ego skill now heals in both its E0 and E3 variant. Her Strike of Darkness now heals as well. Resonating Darkness also heals at the end of the turn, where that also changes with certain unique epiphanies. And then this Resonating Darkness, which is the skill variant, also does a one-time heal. Okay, so Ray and Nia basically just get a lot better at healing. Orlea. Growth Acceleration's Unique Epiphany 2, which allows you to select one creation card of the sand and duplicate it, becomes now a 1-cost card, making it easier to go from, let's say, a 3-star softie into 2 3-star softies. Annoying also heals a bit. Annoying's Unique Epiphany heals a lot more. Now scales with defense-based damage. God damn, that's been a long time coming. Is it also true for her, like, softies? I would assume so, right? I mean, or most importantly, the Swifty, right? If now all of a sudden she does defense-based damage and heals, and then does defense-based damage and heals, we could assume that those do it as well, right? Because otherwise, that'd be a little weird. So, I would expect her Swifties to also be defense-based damage. That could be really huge. Like, Orlea was already pretty darn good, but now she can even dish out damage while still being as tanky as she is. And also, obviously, this can now scale, whereas fixed damage is fixed. It cannot scale. Okay, Magna. Normal Ice Fragment, more Crystallization. Epiphany 1 more. Epiphany 2 more. Unique Ice Fragment Epiphany cost 0, but Initiation 2. Increase in cost, but for Crystallization. But also increasing the damage of counterattacks of this unit. Damn! That one might just be like a new goal to get. Ice Fragment Unique Epiphany 3. Okay, 4 crystallization, so just more shield at the start of the turn. Ice Fragment 5 gets a cost reduction, which means with lead it could be 0 cost. And then increases damage amount of the next counterattack by 100%, not just 30%. Huh. Okay, Ice Wall, more shield. Ooh. The base AoE duration is now 2 turns. Unique Epiphany, 1 more shield. For 1 turn, targets all enemies. Set the target of counterattack to all enemies for 2 turns. 2 counterattack, 270, 300%, 2 counterattack, plus 30% shield gain amount. I guess we're getting a bit more shield and changing the order of when we're talking about counterattacks. Extra shield added to Ice Wall Epiphany 3 to permanently make everything AoE. Okay. More shield, more counterattack. 3 turn AoE. I mean, this seems pretty like decently reliable, seeing as how you only have to play it every 3rd turn. Huh. Okay, 3 vulnerable instead of 2, 3 vulnerable instead of 2, plus 60% shield gain amount for each enemy instead of plus 50. More shield, more vulnerable, more crystallization, more vulnerable. 2 vulnerable to targets that are counterattack. Now it gives you crystallization and adds 3 stacks. God damn. Even more insane vulnerability application through a counterattacking Magna. Okay, triple vulnerable, more counterattacks, more crystallization, and more crystallization. Okay, a lot more of a focus on crystallization, which is your ability to gain a guaranteed shield at the beginning of your turn. Or pretty much through Magna, so that is kind of nice. Makes every card a lot more valuable, like, as a whole. Huh. And then obviously this is like E0, this is E1, right? Ego Manifestation. Okay, Maribell. Oh, this shit is gonna be a while. Oi, oi, oi. But for now we are mainly doing, yeah, we did Magna, we did Orlea's. Okay, Maribell, let's see what she's all about. Ooh, that's huge. Resolute Blitz, not only doing just damage and counterattack, but now also providing a damage-based shield in all its epiphanies. Nice. Shelter is now just a bit more shield. So nothing crazy changed there. But keep in mind, base shield means it scales better with resolve and any like shield percentage buff, so on and so forth. Let's see. Wolf's Dome at the start of the turn, 1 counterattack. Now it gives 2 crystallization, and the 2 crystallization is only applied when using a card. It is not part of any start of turn effect. Okay, so you can now also get crystallization from Maribell, so the ability to get a guaranteed shield every turn. Interesting. And Wolfstone Unique Epiphany 2 now does 80 shield. Okay. First, survivability for support characters will be improved. Nia, Ray, Orlea, Magna, Maribell will receive meaningful survivability improvements to make them more viable support role options in Sortie. These adjustments intend to give them more flexible support roles. Okay, Yuki. What does Yuki do? Okay, prepare to subdue her draw card. Now increases the damage amount of that card by 40 at base. By 80! With the first epiphany, that usually was a 40%. By 30 for all of the attack cards of this unit, not just a singular one. Draw 2, decrease damage amount of those cards by 10. I mean, it's better than decreasing them by 20, I guess. Draw 1 attack and increase damage amount of that card by 40 and draw 1. So this is probably still the very best. But this one is definitely now something to be on your radar. And then for the final one, oh, this is interesting though. Draw 1 attack card of this unit. At the start of the next turn, draw 2. Making this thing indeed actually draw 3. Damn. Okay. Huh. Flash slash base damage up by 10%. So 220 to 330, 220, 220 to 350 to plus 100. And then 360 for the AoE highest base damage reduced cost version. So this one is still very much the most interesting card. The ability to just decrease the cost by 1, making it a 1 cost card. I think that the 1 cost one was always my favorite for sure. But yeah, there is definitely appeal to the 2 cost version or the double hit version. But yeah, now they're all a bit strong in terms of base damage. Alright. Okay, yeah. Trickery Strike that before did 300% and then decreased in cost. Now does 200 and adds an additional hit. Okay, what about Freezing Blade? Even higher? So we go from a base 90 to a base 120. Keep in mind, if you haven't played a lot of Yuki, you don't really know it, but you can scale. You can scale this bateau, which is what she says when she does it. You can scale this inspiration-enabled card follow-up damage, both with crits, and then obviously crit damage, but also just with in general damage buffs and damage amount buffs, like for example morale makes this deal more damage. So we go up to 120, the AoE is 160, the unique, let me see, I'm guessing this one then just has initiation 120, right, just initiation 120, and then here a multiplicative 50% to all attack damage. The only thing I'm seeing here is that she got more of a treatment to her AoE options. I think the only one for Freezing Blade that didn't get touched was the single target specific one that I think did a double 90%. A double 120% would have been kind of nuts. I mean, overall, obviously she got a lot better, but the question is... Then again, let's be honest here, she didn't need it. Yuki did not need it. This is pretty much just free candy. The only real question here is if they have any more intentions to like specifically also do something like this here where they talk about the ego manifestation gain, right? But it doesn't seem to be the case for Yuki. Okay, Haru. Haru's anchor shot, because it clearly needed it, now scales at 100% instead of 80. At 150% instead of 120. 350% for the combo one. Anchor shot, the discard everything is now 2 cost instead of 3 cost. 100% scaling for anchor shot Epiphany 4 and 100% anchor shot scale. People. Haru. She got season 2 buffs. She got season 3 buffs. She is kinda nasty. If you haven't given her a chance yet, do so. I mean, look at this. 300% damage. But every time you use it at plus 100, meaning this ends up being, just from the card, 300 base plus 1000% additional damage on top of it. That is nasty. And keep in mind, every time these base multipliers go up, multiplicative damage buffs just become a little bit more insane. But yeah, don't underestimate the double hit. And I guess the crit version as well. Rin! Even more Rin buffs. I am in heaven. Holy shit! Okay. I am in heaven. What are we getting? So the ult, the ego skill is now 6 vulnerable instead of 2. 9 vulnerable instead of 3. And then they got a 50% base damage buff. Each. No, this stayed the same. This one got it by 50. This is nasty. My E3 Rin is gonna love this. Holy shit. 9 vulnerable stacks? You don't say. Gain Dark Mist Stance. Dark Mist Stance increased damage amount by 100%? On Drawing Slash? Okay. The 180% also gets a 100% multiplier. The 180 gets the double hitter. The 350 goes up to 450. This one goes up to 150. And then look at this insanity. 360% base damage, 100% multiplier. But also, what the fuck is a 450% base damage multiplier? That is insanity. That is insane. Also, could it be that these numbers are before potential? Let me check. So here it says 350%, right? So, combatants, Rin, cards. Yeah, these are before potential. All of these numbers that you've had a look at, these are before potential. Meaning everything you see here is 20% higher. So this, instead of being 450%, is actually closer to 530% at base. No questions asked. Same with this one being 432% times 100 instead of 360. And this goes for everything you've seen here, right? Keep that in mind. These are pre 20% multiplicative potential numbers. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. Okay. Dark Mist Inner Art now has lead, meaning it could... Oh, that is so awesome. Oh, that is so great. Nothing is more annoying than having Dark Mist Inner Art in your hand and it costing you 1 and stopping you from playing your combo. You're like, yeah, I kind of want to keep the stance, I want the damage buff, but I would be able to play out more cards. Now with the ability for it to become lead, you have the chance... You have the chance for this to just, yeah, become 0 cost. Okay, now this is a little critical. Let's have a look. 0 cost, Dark Mist stance plus 40% damage amount to attack cards of this unit for 1 turn. Becomes now 0 cost, but it draws. Okay, forget what I said. This is insane. You mean to tell me we can get even more draw? That is disgusting. Okay. What about this? Lead for 1 turn, create and apply ephemeral, so everything stays the same. This can just become a 0 cost card. Lead at the start of the turn, gain Dark Mist stance, so this upgrade card gets lead. And then this one also stays at 50 and gets lead. Okay. Yeah, this is crazy. Where does this come from? Does she need even more draw? That is nuts. Honestly, that is kind of nuts. And then here for the God fucking damn. Holy shit. From an 80% base to a 120% base. We're jumping by 50. And due to us also having potential, this is actually 134% per hit. And then look at this. If you have E1, you're now 150%. 150%. So plus 30, 180% damage per hit per skill card. Holy, what have they done to Rin? Rin's a monster. Rin's a monster. Haru's a monster. Yuki's cooking. Okay, what about the rest? Kayron? You don't say. Kayron. Alright, let's see. Kayron. Echo of Utility goes up to 320 base. Keep in mind, before potential. Echo of Utility 1 is now 480 base. That is... nuts. God damn it. 480 base, huh? 320 with the ephemeral. 150, 150. Wait, what the fuck? 30% damage plus 30 goes up to 150 plus 30? Yeah, sure. Brand of Annihilation. The AoE is now a 400%. The first one is now a 600%. The second one is now a 400 times 2, a 600, a 300, a 400. Nothing too crazy, but it just plays into what Kayron already does, right? It just plays into what Kayron already does. It just makes him better at what he does. He now has even more multipliers. It means he just hits that much harder. yeah, pretty sweet. None of these changes are like super life-changing, but they are all very, very much nice to see. More Shadow of the Moon buffs? You don't say. Let's have a look. Plus 80% damage amount for each bind stack on Shadow of the Moon. Plus 80% to Shadow of the Moon. And then Shadow of the Moon plus through Ego Manifestation also plus 80. Damn, so stacking Chizuru is even better than before. And also now faster at stacking to the highest. Meaning overall you get plus 400% after getting to bind 5. Plus 400%. That is pretty nice. We found that Yuki, Haru, Rin, Kayron and Chizuru have relatively low damage floors compared to the average of other characters. Kayron in particular struggled with weak early build-up and low base damage, making the roguelike content difficult to clear consistently. They are right. To address this, damage values will be improved. God damn it. Okay, Hugo. Quick fix. If in commands of the hunt state, increase action count of all enemies by 2. Okay. And then quick fix Epiphany 5. Decrease commands of the hunt by up to 5 at 1 hit for each. 120%. No decrease at hit for each. Okay. And even while you think these might not make their space, none of these changes make their space into your save data, keep in mind you will be playing Sortie, you will be picking them up, and it is do or die in those situations, getting the nicest, the rightest, the best, the appropriate epiphanies, you know. And then here, easy 300% shield, yes, and also 1 damage reduction to all enemies, regardless of them being in a ravaged state or not, just making this card a lot more usable. Luke's handgun bullet, the finisher round. 300% base, keep in mind before potential 350 base. So overall just more damage to it, just making the card more potent and making it a bit more of a true finisher. No super crazy scaling, but also, the devs don't really seem to think that he needs it, which I would concur with. And then Owen. Owen is getting a buff. Yes, can you believe it? More AoE, more AoE, more AoE on the triple hitter. More AoE, as well as the ability to obviously have it activate one more time when it defeats someone. And then more AoE at the end of the turn, as well as more AoE. Okay, Amir. Metallization. When gaining a shield via an ability, deal defense-based damage. Okay, this could be huge. When shield is gained through an ability, 80% defense-based damage to random enemy. Oh, shit. That is big. Like, for Amir, who's all about metallization, the ability to also add defense-based damage on top of a shield herself, that is big. I don't think her triggering metallization is going to trigger metallization to trigger metallization to trigger metallization. But if it is, it would be hilarious. But then, even then, free survivability for Amir. That is pretty nice. Okay, all of Lucas's bullets now deal 120 at base and 60 to everyone. So basically this is like 120 and this also goes onto the single target. So effectively this turns into like 180 and this is 60% AoE. Counterattack will become even stronger. Okay. When taking damage, 150% defense-based damage to the attacker. And if an attack is completely blocked, 300% instead of 200%. God damn. If you haven't done it yet, counterattack teams are now better than ever. Who could have guessed? Okay, let's have a look at the rest. Counterattack performance will also be improved along with adjustments to select cards and epiphany upgrades with extremely low pick rates. The development team will continue monitoring the live gameplay data, closely tracking changes in combatant usage and performance, especially in Sortie following these adjustments. Finally, the overall balance baseline increasing over the past 3 seasons. It has become common for a single card to eliminate entire groups of enemies, including those within their intended level ranges. The development team has identified the shift in monster balance as one of the factors diminishing mid-game immersion. The development team considers this issue a priority. To preserve the intended difficulty, monster HP will be slightly increased, so each card still feels impactful. The adjustment applies to monsters from level 11 to level 59, excluding endgame content, with HP and defense increased by approximately 3% up to 15%. However, since combat difficulty on the live server may vary by Protoss, the change in difficulty may not be very noticeable to all players. So what this means is just that with them buffing everyone and them only increasing the HP values in like endgame content with enemy levels 70, 80, 90 all the way to like 150 with tower and beyond, it was a bit too easy to just one-shot everything and everyone on the low level stages, so the low level monsters will now be between 3 to 15% stronger, which I think is totally fair. Going forward, the development team will continue to monitor combatant cards, partners, equipment and other gameplay elements and make ongoing improvements. Damn. Yeah, not as crazy long as they as we had it for the season 2. I think the best thing we saw here was these adjustments are intended to give where did they describe what exactly they wanted to make happen? This right here minimizes any mega large scale reworks, because it's also true that I don't think any character right now needs a large scale rework unless you wanted to try to potentially bring up a Tressa or a Cassius, but we'll have to see. Because honestly, while Tressa might not be like the infinite insta-killer that she was outside of Chaos, during a Chaos run I had absolutely no problem using her. I had a lot of fun using her and she was still doing some very nice agony damage. Then again, it all remains to be seen and it looks like a lot is balancing on Sortie. So Nia is just overall more healing, Rey is more healing, Orlea is more healing as well as the shift to defense based damage. Magna is, more counterattacks, less cost, more shield, more crystallization, and keep in mind counterattack base damage has been increased. Maribell now the ability to give herself shield and do this here as well with damage based shield. So she also scales her own damage, right? By providing a defense based shield and then increasing damage amount by shield owned. And overall more damage, more crystallization, fixed shield. Yuki just higher base multipliers, as well as also this one being interesting, allowing you to draw to the next turn. Like this one might actually become quite nice. Then here more base damage, more multipliers. Haru same thing, just more base damage. Rin as well. Honestly, I think I might just have to play a lot of Rin. I might just have to play more Rin than I'm comfortable with, but then again, Rin, she my queen, she earns it. And Kayron obviously with the big buffs in terms of base damage. Chizuru here for her Shadow of the Moon, which is really nice. It's kind of like this end of turn finisher. Hugo with some minute touch-ups. Khalipe with some barely noticeable changes, some upgrades to Luke. Big damage for Owen. Amir with the shield gain. Lucas for some more damage on all of his bullets. And then obviously the counter increase. Yeah. Let me know down below what you think about this. If you think somebody didn't get enough. If you think I've overread over something that's actually kind of crazy. And as always, we see each other in the next one. Peace.